Hello and welcome to Simple Country Place. I have 4 realistic family meal ideas for you today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please subscribe. Welcome and enjoy. The first thing I'm making is like a version of Swedish meatballs. So I have an egg that I'm beating up. I'm starting obviously with the meatball mixture, and I will be adding ground beef to that, panko breadcrumbs. That's just what I had opened on hand. And for seasonings, I added garlic powder, minced onion, salt and pepper, and a smidge of nutmeg. I would have added a smidge of allspice, but I did not have any, so left that out. And then I mix that all together. I always start like mixing with a fork just to like kind of incorporate, but you know, if you know, you know, your hands are the best tools. So I washed my hands, mixed it all together, and then formed the meatballs. So when I get those all formed, I'm going to just sear them on all sides, well, as much as you can with round objects, searing them on all sides, and then I will actually be taking them off and putting them on a sheet pan to finish cooking in the oven, just because I always get like nervous about burning the outsides to have them cook all the way in the pan. To go with that, I am making just mashed potatoes. So here I am cutting up potatoes, getting them ready to throw in boiling water. And as you can see, now I am putting the meatballs on that sheet pan to go into the oven. I realize I do like a lot of back and forth, but I film the way I cook. So it's like start something, go to something else, go back. So in that pan that the meatballs were in, I'm adding butter, and then I'll be adding flour to make a roux, because I'm going to make like the gravy Swedish meatball sauce, whatever you want to call it, in that same pan. So I make that roux, and then I will be adding half and half and milk, which I know I historically always don't have milk. However, we have a bunch of my in-laws staying with us for a while, and they had to move out of their house and brought some groceries, one of which included milk. So it's convenient. I ran out of half and half, but then had milk to use. For seasonings for that, I will be adding beef broth base, like the powder, and 1 chicken bouillon cube. I like to do both. I just think it, I don't know, gives it a good flavor. And then a little bit of water. And I'm letting that cook, like dissolve that broth base and get those flavors incorporated for a while. So then back to the potatoes, throwing in some butter in the bottom of the pan, having the hot potatoes on top because it helps it melt. And then sometimes I'll add milk or half and half. This day I had sour cream, so I added that, and just super simple salt and pepper for the seasonings. The family that is currently staying with it, like my in-laws, we have my nephew who always lives with us, and then we have 5 extra people, and historically my in-laws, just as a rule, are kind of picky eaters. So I kept things a little bit simpler this week for them, so they would eat and not complain. So back to that gravy mixture, I'm adding Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, Parmesan, parsley, and pepper. and letting that cook together for a while, and then I will be adding some sour cream to melt that down. Honestly, I make this different every time, but it's very closely. I also make stroganoff quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but sometimes. And you basically use the same type of flavors for that as well. And, you know, just season it up and then taste as you go and figure it out. That's how I cook. So when the meatballs were done cooking in the oven, I pulled them out, put them back in the pan to like get in the sauce, and then I let that thicken in the oven. I served that obviously over the mashed potatoes and then just a side of green beans. That's like the only vegetable that my husband's family will eat. So this day they also brought a lot of eggs with them, so we had lots of eggs. So I'm making an egg bake, like brunch meal. I had some onion and green pepper there sauteing to cook those down. And then I am adding 8 eggs to that large bowl and then scrambling them up with milk. Once that onion and green pepper were cooked down, I added tomatoes to that. Actually, I like having fresh tomatoes with my eggs, and we still have lots of garden fresh ones. So for the seasonings for that egg mixture, I just added seasoned salt, black pepper, and parsley, and quite a bit because there's obviously 8 eggs in there. So it seems like that's a lot of salt, but you need it. So very easy. I just have a sprayed baking dish there. I'm pouring that egg mixture in, and then I'm obviously going to add the veggies that I sauteed to that, mix that around a little bit, topped it with cheddar cheese, covered it, and threw it into the oven. And the downfall of this, it takes quite a bit, obviously, depending on the size of the pan, how much you're making, but it takes quite a bit of time, half hour or 40 minutes. With that, I had that muffin mix in my pantry and decided to make that with it, and I'm just making it according to the package directions, which is super easy. Just add milk and mix it together and then dump it in the muffin tin. It only makes, it says 6, but I think I made them too big, so I got 5 muffins out of that, but that was just enough. 1 muffin for all of our house guests, and then my husband just had some toast. And my nephew that lives with us wasn't home on this day either, so there was 1 less person. But yeah, so there's that egg bake. It was good. I had some, obviously there was no meat in it, and muffins. This day we had extra, like on top of the people that are staying with us, we had extra in-laws over because they were all doing a project, but I'm making a big old like Thanksgiving-esque type meal, baked chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and stuffing. And super easy. I just added 2 cream of chicken soup mixed soups into that baking dish and 1 can of half and half, like I filled one of the cans of half and half, added that in, mixed it together. And I actually made 2 pans like this because I think there was like 12 people or something here, but simple seasonings, like I said, they are kind of picky, so I only added pepper, and then I'm actually putting the uncooked chicken into those pans with that gravy mixture, and then adding salt and pepper to the top of the chicken, covering that and putting it in the oven. It's easy to throw it all in there and let it cook without having to like pan fry chicken or whatever, and it keeps it like in the liquid there, it keeps it nice and juicy. And so like I said, stuffing, I found that Hawaiian stuffing mix and I was like super excited about it because we love sweet Hawaiian, but just made that according to package directions. Potatoes like I made the other day, and served it with green beans because like I said, that's pretty much the only vegetable that I'll eat. On this day, I'm making like a chili cheese dog casserole type situation. I have those little like cocktail wieners that I'm actually going to just sear for a little bit, and it's going to look weird, so trust the process. To that, I'm adding cumin and chili powder and letting that cook for a bit. And then I had previously made chili and froze, I froze them in like containers. I had pulled out one of those, so I'll be adding some of my homemade chili to that once those are cooked a little bit, just kind of like seared. And then once I add the chili, I am letting it continue to cook to heat up. And then I will be actually adding that to a baking dish. So I'm layering that chili cheese or chili mixture on the bottom, and then a layer of shredded cheese, and then more chili mixture, another layer of shredded cheese. Not a lot of people were home this day, so I didn't have to make a crap ton of food, but and then I will be putting that into the oven just to get the cheese to melt. Everything else is already hot, so just to get the cheese to melt. And yeah, it was my husband said this was really good. It was something different, and new twist on chili cheese dogs, which I know he likes. I served that with a side salad and Fritos, like Frito or any sort of corn chips. Yeah, and like I said, he likes it. Thanks so much for watching, and please come back for future videos.